Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The moment I saw his name on the client list, my throat locked so tight I thought I might choke. His name sat there in black letters, familiar in a way that still scraped raw at the inside of my chest. I stared at it, unable to blink, unable to breathe, unable to believe that fate had just placed the man who once shattered me at the head of a case I now had the power to control. Michael Hart. The man I had loved. The man who had walked out with a suitcase and an apology that sounded like a lie even while I was still swallowing it. The man who left me for someone younger, someone brighter, someone who made him feel like he was starting fresh, rather than nurturing the life he already had. 5 years. 5 long punishing years. I thought I was past him. I thought I had sealed every memory behind a mental wall strong enough to survive anything. But when I saw his name, the wall cracked. My fingers trembled as I picked up the file. The room felt too small, the lights too bright, the air too thin. I tried to focus on the paperwork, but every word blurred at the edges until a newer name jumped out at me. Emma Hart. The woman he left me for. They were getting divorced. A part of me should have felt vindicated, maybe even triumphant. But as I stood there, the emotions colliding inside my chest felt nothing like victory. They felt like grief revisited. They felt like the ghost of heartbreak reaching out with cold hands. I forced myself to breathe, slow and deliberate, then walked into the conference room where my paralegal, Sarah, waited with a stack of documents. "You look like you saw something you should not have," she said softly. I swallowed hard. "Michael is my new client." Her face softened with sympathy. "Do you want me to have someone else take the case?" For a moment I almost said yes. I almost surrendered. But then something settled in me, something quiet and strong. "No," I said. "I will handle it." When I drove home that night, the city lights reflected on my windshield like fractured stars. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. Memories floated up uninvited. His laugh. His late nights. His faint smell of cologne mixed with guilt. The way he avoided eye contact in the final weeks, as if he already belonged to someone else. I remembered the moment he told me. I remembered how he tried to soften it with gentle words. I remembered how I broke anyway. The next morning, Michael walked into my office for the consult. Seeing him again felt like the world tilted sideways. He looked older, more tired. The shine he once had was gone. His eyes widened when he saw me. "Leah," he whispered. "You are the attorney?" I kept my voice steady. "Yes. Take a seat." He sat across from me, shifting uncomfortably, his hands clasped together. I forced myself to remain professional, though inside every emotion felt like a storm shaking loose. "How long have you and Emma been separated?" I asked. He hesitated. "We have been struggling for almost 2 years. 2 years. My stomach twisted. So it had begun falling apart long before he left me for her. The truth stung more than I expected. He had not just betrayed me. He had betrayed her too. "Why divorce now?" I pressed. His voice cracked. "She had an affair." I felt a cold ripple run through me. Karma. Brutal, merciless karma. But instead of satisfaction, all I felt was an ache so deep I could barely sit still. Betrayal was not a prize or a punishment. It was destruction, no matter who it hit. "She said I changed after I left you," he said quietly. "She said I lost something I did not even know I lost." I clenched my hands under the table. I refused to let his regret land anywhere inside me. "You made your choices," I replied. "Now focus on what comes next." He looked at me with something between sorrow and apology. "I never meant to hurt you." A familiar burn rose behind my eyes, but I refused to let it escape. I had cried enough tears for him. "Intent does not erase damage," I said softly. "Let us talk about the settlement." As we moved through the documents, the tension thinned just enough for clarity to rise. He was broken now. Not because he lost Emma, because he finally saw what he had thrown away. But I was no longer the woman he abandoned. I was stronger, sharper, untouchable by the person I used to be. 2 weeks later, Emma came in for her meeting with her attorney. When she entered the room, I expected resentment or insecurity. Instead, she approached me with a quiet, strained expression. "You must think I got what I deserved," she said. I met her gaze without flinching. "I do not think you deserve pain. I think you deserve truth." Same as anyone. She blinked surprised. Michael said leaving you was the biggest mistake he ever made. I took a slow breath. The old pain poked at me, but it no longer controlled me. That is his burden, I replied. Not mine. The negotiations were smooth, civil, even gentle at times. When it was over, Michael stayed behind, lingering at the door. Leah, he said softly, I wish I could undo everything. I looked him straight in the eyes. If you had not left me, I said, I never would have become the woman strong enough to sit in this chair. He exhaled, defeated. That is the difference between us. I continued. You break. I rebuild. I gathered the papers, closed the file, and stood. We are done here. And for the first time in 5 years, I walked away from him without anything pulling me back.